Officially live. Everybody, welcome to the weekly Strength Club Q&A. I have two starting strength coaches here, and then one very handsome app developer. I'll let you guys introduce yourselves. Who goes first? Mick?
Hello, everyone. I'm Mick, the developer of the Starting Strength app and our other app, Strength Club. And I am here to act as the novice who's going to ask dumb questions to these highly intelligent starting strength coaches.
Yeah, so the topic we're running this week is going to be FAQ/misconceptions about the starting strength linear progression. We'll set up some straw men and then beat the shit out of them. And then kind of a what we wish we knew on the other side. That'll be interesting because both Mick and I probably started training in very weird ways. Very basically just kind of like bodybuilding.com memes, right? We didn't find starting strength immediately. Whereas Chase...
I started with strong lifts. So just,
okay. Yeah. So he was starting in, I think...
Hold on, excuse me, guys, real quick. I got to unlock the door for Phoebe.
Okay.
She's coming in.
Chase locked Phoebe outside. She was going to the bathroom in the backyard. But yeah, okay, so in this top right corner, that chair in those blinds, that's your boy Chase Lindley. He weighs 242 pounds. He presses 405. He's very cute. And then I am Alex Kosari. I'm a starting strength coach. I am from Virginia Beach. I do local coaching there and online coaching. We'll go through our socials. The things you should follow. We have Chase at Chase Lindley, and then Chase 2.0 at Chase_Lindley.
Can we get that guy on the stream?
Yeah.
We gotta reach out to
I
this guy.
forget which one is which. I don't know if you're Chase_Lindley or if you're Chase Lindley. Which
no,
one are
mine's the top one, just Chase Lindley. No
okay, I got it right
underscore or anything.
I got it right then, yeah. So the Chase 2.0 is, or Nega Chase is Chase_Lindley. I'm at that website, acostrength.com. I said NEGA, like Bizarro.
No, well, that's the end of this stream.
Yeah, no need to beep that one out. I can spell it out.
You're not proud enough to say that, Alex.
I think I am. I'll put a little filter on for that. Yeah, so Chase does some online coaching. I do some online coaching. Mick does life coaching for those of us who need spiritual advice. And then Teodor Marinovich in the comments said, add my Insta at TMR Denovich.
It's just way too many.
Yeah.
There's a few more vowels.
Is he the Croatian? We were talking about Croats earlier on. You got to.
So I just checked his Instagram. He has one post. And somehow
Teodor, come on, man. That's some rookie-ass numbers.
And his account's private, and he has 468 followers, which is more than the Strength Club account.
There you go, man. Well, that must be a really good post, Teodor. Let us know.
Yeah.
Let us know what's going on there.
I'm following you, Teodor. Let me in.
Yeah, except Mick in there. Mick has some gold Instagram accounts that hopefully he'll be sharing with us all soon. If you can go to the last Strength Club episode, you will find it. But okay, all right. I guess we should just dig into this thing. And then we're going to have a lot to add. These are just the ones that I could think of with some inspiration from Chase for a few of them, especially the belt and the abs one. The arm work question was definitely me. Yeah, the lower three were definitely me. And then when to end an LP, we covered that all in great length last episode. So let's just start going through the first one. When can I wear a belt? Chase, do you feel like you get asked these often? Just scroll through these. Do these seem like things that typically pop up for people in the gym?
Yeah, I mean, whenever people typically see, powerlifters or just follow anybody big, they see all the gear associated with them, right? So like the knee sleeves, wrist straps, belt. So it's almost like, oh shit, on top of wearing shoes, I need to get everything already decked out, right? A lot of people don't need to really wear a belt at the start because, again, they don't know how to set their back and brace properly. The belt kind of becomes a crutch at that point where like they can't wear it without fear of them breaking in half during like their empty bar set or something like that. Mm-hmm. What I normally tell people whenever I judge when people need a belt is this bar speed. Usually like the first, 3 weeks, 2 weeks into an LP, people are fine. They're getting used to setting the back. Like, their back is getting pumped from just holding that low back extension. And then as I see fit with the bar speed on either the deadlift or the squat, I'll just slap a belt on.
Mm-hmm. That's another very good question. How to deal with lower back pumps when someone is massing. That can be terrible.
Yeah.
I don't think the belt does shit for me, honestly, but it's a crappy one. Yeah, Jimmy, you have a very thin belt, my man. You have a thin belt. Yeah, Jimmy has if you go to Amazon and you look up like weightlifting belt, it's like the 2 or 3 millimeter one. It's like the red and black.
Like the black and red. Yeah, that one's shit.
I didn't see that one.
Like paper thin.
It has a lot of sentimental value.
deadlifting belts. That's another pretty common question.
Oh,
I mean,
should you wear the
4
belt in the
inches,
deadlift?
yeah, I mean, a lot of people struggle with the 4-inch belt on a deadlift. What do you guys normally recommend for that?
My take is generally be less fat. I don't have any people who have visible abs who have problems with a 4-inch or 3-inch. They don't care because it's just it's just flesh on flesh and it's fine.
Is
but
that
if you have
for pretty much every single thing on that list right now, is just don't be so fat.
No, for the how to be strong question, it is not that one. You would be cursed by chasing that dragon, going in circles forever for that one. Yeah, so deadlifting with the belt, the 3-inch, it kind of really depends. For some people, it can feel like it's really cutting into them. But if you have someone, it kind of just really depends on, the distance between their lower ribs and then the top of their pelvis, and then kind of what fluff is floating around in there. The 4-inch belt can oftentimes jam things up. But for when I can wear a belt, I think just kind of until proven otherwise, I'll sometimes run people for months on months without a belt, well in intermediate training, and then you just slap it on later. You can kind of tell if that's the limiting factor for progress, because, they'll end up losing lower back extension. And then you're like, okay, well, even they'll start telling you that I feel like I'm losing my deadlift in the middle of my back. I feel like I'm losing my squat in my pelvis. You're like, okay, it's time for the belt.
Do you ever recommend getting a rib removed if you're having issues with the belt?
That was the best middle school rumor, I think, was you could just go to the doctor and be like, hey, I need this rib removed. And they're like, all right, man.
For deadlifting, for my deadlifts.
Exactly. I'd be like, that's fine. If you're in some sort of
Chase knows what we're talking about right now. He's so innocent. He's so innocent and naive.
Chase is very flexible, though, so he may not have to worry about it. But for those of us who are in a little self-suck situation, it can be precarious. But all right, question number 2: when do we do abs? When do we do ab work?
Every day.
Oh yeah, man, this is a big one. So everyone kind of creeps in with that superficial aspect of, man, when do I do the shit that makes me look pretty? What people don't understand is it's training, right? It's a step-by-step process to achieve whatever goal that we're training for. If it's, again, the superficial aspect, you got to understand that it's going to take time. Dieting is going to really help you there. And then just doing the lifts, right? Getting as strong as possible with them, developing a huge amount of muscle mass to where, if you're like 260 or so, and then eventually we get onto this cut, right? You have this nice washboard underneath, right? But again, this is what people don't really understand is that, Rip is beating this to death, but the guy who can squat 600 pounds or 500 pounds has stronger abs and more visible abs than the kid who's struggling with 185. It's just the sheer amount of muscle mass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So it is one of those things where I think people think that the isometric work within the squat or the deadlift or the press, because you are not physically feeling like a concentrated burn in your abs, right? Mm-hmm. You're not really getting work to them. Whereas you almost definitely are, so it's like the isometric engagement that you're getting from the squat, deadlift, press, bench, it is fairly significant. It's significant because you're going from nothing to something, and that something is accumulating very significantly, right? So if you're coming in from a background of already being very well muscled and you've been doing ab work 4 or 5 times a week and you're already 190 and fairly lean, you probably want to do some ab work if you feel like you need more muscle mass on your abs. For most people, that's not the case. It's kind of a shape thing. That's mostly a genetic thing, I've worked with a lot of relatively lean physique people, and I've never seen anyone go from having flat, blocky abs to very well-defined ones with big humps. It's just kind of not really a thing. It's kind of similar to a bicep peak. Do you have low bicep peaks? Do you have high bicep peaks? Do you have good pec insertions? Pretty wide pec insertions. The best thing you can do for abs is really just to get lean, and that's not really a concern for you whenever you're a novice. It shouldn't be a concern for the first 3 or 4 years of your training, just because it's you have better shit to be doing, and that better shit is accumulating muscle mass because you're still so sensitive to growth. Mick, how many days a week are you doing ab work?
What about the weird abs where they're sort of alternating? Have you seen those ones? There's ones that are they sort of sit next to each other, there's
zipper abs,
and there's ones that are alternating. Yeah, what do you do about that?
I have those. It sucks.
Really? Do you want to show us?
I think that's just the muscle belly.
I feel like this whole last year of doing live streams is just so you could finally show us all your abs.
No, I'll send you the pictures later, Mick. But I have to tilt so that I face kind of one side to the camera a little bit more,
and then lighting right. First thing in the morning.
Yeah, I tilt like this way and then this way, and they kind of look symmetrical from there. That's what it is. But if I stand normally, there's like a half-inch offset. It's terrible.
It is.
It's terrible. So Chase, do you do any ab work to support your giant pressing and your laybacks? Any ab rolling, anything like that?
At one point I did, but then I realized this is stupid and it's not really helping anything. What I figured out, what actually helps my ab is pressing more, right? More overhead work, doing a bunch more, overload pin pressing. That was probably the big thing that I really found out, was that after a heavy set of pin press, your abs fucking hurt from just stabilizing, especially me, where I have a drastic lay back. And with the pin press, it does kind of, get you into a situation to where you do have to lay back, and your abs are just, man, they are stressed to all be all after a set of 5 on a pin press.
Yeah. Very similar to how, I don't think anyone would doubt that a deadlift really stresses your erectors, even if you're not going through an active range of motion. So it's like, you don't have to go from curlicue to perfectly straight under load, right, to grow your erectors. We just do that during the bottom of the deadlift, and then the isometric function of the erectors stays through the entire deadlift. No one would say, oh, well, the deadlift's not going to grow your erectors in your back. It's similar with the isometric engagement of the abs and all the rest of the work. Tidor said, as in, do you start wearing a belt before you start adding light days or after? You can have to add a light day for a few reasons. So if the person just has a bunch of external life stress and they can't recover in time, it could be their deadlift fatiguing them. It could be their squat. It really depends, So that call to add a light day isn't dependent on where they're losing the lift, right? Because if you can tell that person just doesn't have the muscle mass on their legs to be driving the work, or they're too light, or what it is, and their back extension is perfectly fine, you may not need the belt in that moment. All right, third question. When can I add in some arm work?
Yeah, a lot of people just don't understand that, we're doing upper body stuff all the damn time. Even your deadlifts train your arms and your traps. They don't see it, man. They don't understand that the novice linear progression is the only time in your training that you're going to get the most gains the quickest, right? We can't just go to the dumbbell rack, work our way from, the 15s all the way to 65s in the span of like 2 hours and hopefully get shredded like Ronnie Coleman at the end of the day. It just does not work like that. Again, kind of just repeat myself. It's just a step by step, adding weight to the bar, coming in, doing the work, and not worrying about the superficial aspect of it, right? You're going to get big, right? You're going to eat, you're going to recover. And if you just stick true to those, you'll be fine. Your arms are going to fucking balloon.
It just takes so much time. I think people don't realize how much time it takes. Yeah. We'll touch on that later on. One of my favorite criticisms of starting strength is, why does everyone who does starting strength look like they don't lift? And then it says the first word says starting strength. That's my favorite. It pops up on the subreddit like every 2 to 3 months.
I think it's like one of the, I think if you actually Google Reddit starting strength, that is literally the first thing that comes up in the search.
Oh, Race Jackson. Why do dragon flags when you can add 5 pounds to your deadlifts? Dragon flags are really hard, my man. I can rep out probably 4 or 6 front levers and hold them for 4 or 5 seconds a piece. Well, he says if you want to laugh, look them up on YouTube. But a proper dragon flag is incredibly hard. It's stupid hard to do.
Man, it's not that hard compared to adding 5 pounds to your deadlift.
Yeah, when you go from 700 to 705, that's pretty hard.
Fuck yeah, it is.
Did you find it, Vic?
No, actually, it's not on there anymore.
We actually had a guy in Wichita Falls. He's kind of an older dude. We call him like the missing link. Like, he would hang from the racks. He'd set the pin up to where like he'd hook his legs up and he's upside down, and he'd kind of do like I guess negative sit-ups with weight. And he would always do dragonflies on the bench, and he'd put like a 10-pound weight in between his legs and just go from like 90 to like about 15 degrees. And I mean, he was impressive, but again, he was strong as shit. And that's the thing again that people overlook, is that you got to be strong first in order to do like these circus tricks.
Yeah. Like literally the ability to isometrically contract your trunk and have it be that rigid. Yeah. It's the same exact thing elsewhere. So I remember before I started doing barbell training, I was doing all the martial arts calisthenic, crap. And then I was chasing all of those like higher level gymnastic stuffs like all of the planches, like the V-tucks after the L-sit and all of that stuff. And then literally adding a few hundred pounds to your deadlift is incredibly helpful for it. You just don't have to be concerned about your trunk being the compromising factor. Whereas normally that's what it is. So it's like later on, it eventually will become like your hip flexors or your glutes or something like that. But yeah, ab work, it's awesome.
They're very interested in how big your trunk is. That's
oh yeah. They just want someone with just.
There's nothing about girls on these questions. Like I feel like that's the when can I tell a girl about my 315 squat? That's.
I remember unironically doing that the first time I had a 315 deadlift. It was at a college or a party in college, and I was like, "Oh, I had the best day. I was super drunk." I was like, "I just deadlifted 315 pounds." She's like, "Oh my god, that's so much." It was great. It was a great night.
I don't believe any of that story. You going to a college party, you going to college or going? Oh no, I know you went to college, but were you just telling your friends in the at the
Dungeons and Dragons Club?
Yeah, the young conservatives.
They thought, you're a god amongst men. You're like 215. Holy shit!
Oh my god, that's so cool. Well, at the college gym, nobody was lifting anything, so it was actually cool. I'll tell you what. Yeah. It was a bunch of dorks, but it happened, Mick. It was quite the night. But yeah, so when can I add in arm work? So you're getting 9 sets of arm work a weekend from your benching and your pressing. Depending on who you are in a population, you're probably going to be getting 3 to 9 sets of chin-ups in a week, right? Or some sort of vertical pulling in. If you're in a very sensitive end of the population, maybe that's 3. If you're Aunt Meredith coming in and 3 sets of lat pull downs is a lot for your elbows and your shoulders. Whereas if you're a young guy, if you're 19 years old, you can get a 9 sets of chins a week. That's totally fine. So you have basically like the global or cosmic, let's just say like global system growth from things like deadlifts and squats. And then you're having more direct arm work from your chin-ups and then your benching and your pressing. So to say like it's not necessarily arm work, that's a little bit odd. I think that for some reason, people will either skip the chin-ups and then claim that there's no arm work in it, or they'll think that they'll need like forearm curls and 85 other things in there.
You do forearm curls, don't you? You do specific forearm work.
I do lots of hammer curls, man. I do lots of hammer and also rock climbing for many years as well. That probably counts as forearm work, I think, in some way, shape, or form. I actually just went climbing for the first time in a few months. Was it 2 days ago? Forearms are still wrecked. It is not pretty. Picking up everything is terrible.
When was the last time you went rock climbing, Chase?
I've never been. I was trying to climb.
I wonder how you go with that. That would be an interesting, social experiment.
I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah, it's fun.
You can climb up the world's smallest. What is it?
Skyscraper. In Wichita Falls of the 2-story massive building.
But yeah, Chase, you should go rock climbing and report back to us with how it goes.
Awesome. I will.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But then we said, when should I do cardio? It's a valid question. What do you guys think?
It's funny, man. I just someone came in for their intro today, and they asked that exact question. What I told them was this: so cardio versus weight training, right? The two compete for each other for resources. It's 2 different physiological adaptations. So you're kind of just splitting yourself in half, and you're not getting yourself as strong as possible if that's your goal, right? Because you're trying to convert your cellular level to more cardio, more aerobic exercise, more adaptation on that end versus the force production on the strength aspect, right? Man, you get enough cardio after you get done with a heavy set of 5. Maybe not at the start, because again, you're just learning technique, like the first 3 sessions that you're in here. But sooner or later, as you start adding more weight, right, you're going to be gassed. Everyone always does this, is that after they get done with a heavy ass pull, they'll sit there for about like 30 seconds, kind of gasping, like, holy fuck, I didn't know this was so strenuous, right? And it's like, you are getting a cardio event. It's just not a long, drawn out, oh, I'm going to run, 5 miles and kind of just get a runner's high from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Stephen Louie in the chat. How's it going, man? Tuesday surprise. Yeah. Not the usual Sunday time. We're going for Tuesday. And then Tidor said, Rich Piana is my favorite natty vegan bodybuilder. Yeah. 100% natty all the way. Rich Piana's pronouns are was, were. I think Rich Piana is a very good case as to why, if you weigh 330 pounds of just muscle, your significant other should be able to deadlift at least that much. Yeah, because what happened is that I don't know if you guys know the folklore behind it. She was giving him a haircut. He had a heart attack, or was starting to have a heart attack, and then fell on his chest. And he was so heavy that he couldn't like maintain breathing, and she couldn't flip him over because he was too jacked.
Damn.
That's what happened.
That's a way to go out, though.
That's a way to go.
Too jacked. Couldn't revive. Too jacked.
So if she could have like flipped him over, shoved some aspirin down his throat, started palpitations.
Well, you couldn't even do CPR on him because he's massive pecs.
She would have just had to keep dropping like elbows.
You could get like the 10-pound sledge and just beat his fucking chest.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's the case. Yeah. So Chase is fine. Phoebe's a strong girl. Chase, if you decide to stroke out, you can probably be flipped over.
God, I hope not.
Can we just do a test run on that right now, Chase, just to see if you can?
No.
Yeah.
Hey, Chase, is that your chair that's squeaking? Is it finally
No.
like
So
my
my dog and Phoebe decided to run outside real quick and do their business, but there's a chair behind me that just squeaks constantly. It's an old chair. See, like right now, like I'm moving around and I'm totally fine.
All right.
An athlete's chair, truly. But yeah.
I wanted to believe that you just, you get so big that your chair's just struggling.
No, I am a fat ass though, but no.
R.I.P. Rich Piana. That's why I only weigh 125 pounds, is so that anyone can carry me out of the building. Yeah. Yeah, 2 small children can drag me out. But when should I do cardio? It kind of really depends. Like if you want to be good at cardio, or you were trying to interface lifting as a supplement to your cardio-based lifestyle, like you're like, okay, I run 3 marathons a year, I run 4 half marathons a year, or whatever. You will likely already know how to regulate those loads, and you'll be totally fine. If you're not one of those people and you're looking to start, don't. It's kind of like I want to have my cake and eat it too thing. It's like I want to be good at both things and get better at them at the same time with no consequences. Doesn't exist. There are very real world consequences to attempting both of those things at the same time. You will get overly fatigued early. Your LP will end early. Your introduction to intermediate training will be, you'll go in with a sour taste in your mouth because again, you'll be trying to spin both plates at full speed. So it's like I have a lot of people who come in with a high level of cardio base who are trying to integrate an NLP into that. And it's like, okay, you could totally do that. We just need to make sure that you are, instead of regulating your lifting loads, you're regulating your cardio loads. So it's like, all right, if you're a little bit beat up by the end of the week, you're going to take your cardio a little bit lighter, or you're going to split it in through more doses. So rather than doing 1 hour-and-a-half session of cardio on, let's say, Saturday morning, you can do 4 or 5 sessions across the week, but for maybe 15 or 20 minutes, You want to make the cardio as disruptive, or to me, as uninterruptive as possible. You don't want that cardio to disrupt your strength training at all. So if you have a high level of cardio fitness coming in, you'll have that wiggle room to play with. That's totally fine. So if that's I know Crown of Iron's in the chat now. He plays Australian football, whatever the hell that is. Haven't looked it up yet. But he probably has a good amount of cardio base to him, So if he feels like playing a recreational game on the weekend, that's totally fine because he already has those resources. Whereas if you're coming in and you have basically no cardio base whatsoever, don't try to build it at the same time you're trying to build muscle mass, I think. Tidor, common question, getting chubby, weigh 198, squat 265, bench 190 at 5'9". What do? Perfect Mick question. Mick, what do you think?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, are you getting chubby though? Are you getting chubby? That's the thing. Like, I mean, that's so subjective. Send us a photo, Theodore. Let me into your Instagram account so we can see how fat you actually are.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you not see your pecker because you're so fucking fat? Or are you just getting a little bit of weight, which is normal as you gain both muscle and fat, as you should be doing with an LP or just lifting? I think you're fine.
They seem like pretty low numbers for someone who's 200 pounds though.
Those are low for 200.
Those are real low.
200 pounds. Yeah.
If I weighed 200 pounds,
like you're not tipping.
Buddy.
You would just start cutting yourself.
No, I mean, if I weighed 200 pounds and I had those numbers, that would not be good. Not be good, Theodore. I think Theodore was dealing with a bunch of lockdown stuff, though, right? So he may be coming off of a lockdown, if I remember correctly. But Chase brought up a very interesting point. It could be you can't see your pecker for multiple reasons. It could be,
He said his thighs are getting hefty.
Thighs are getting hefty.
I mean, dude, you're fine. You're fine. You're not
unless
a woman. You're not gaining.
Woman.
Yeah, you're not gaining fat around your hips or anything like that, man. And if you feel like you're getting chubby, just train harder, right? Just train your ass off. Maybe watch what you're eating. Just common stuff. It doesn't take a genius to figure this out. Just train your fucking ass off, and then not eat a bunch of fat.
Yeah, put your nose to the grindstone, man. If you're only squatting 265 and benching 190 at those proportions, like let's say if you were 6'3" at 198, I would be like, okay, those are fine numbers for like the end of an LP for a giant string bean guy. But if you're 5'9" at 200, you should probably have those numbers a little bit higher. Unless, again, you're far left side of the bell curve for response on strength training. That could be you too. You could just have really, been a dud. That's kind of a ask your parents thing. Seek out some coaching, I would say, if you think there are legitimate problems that you can't solve on your own. And then on a scale of Angela White to My 600-Pound Life. Nice. Do you guys ever watch that show, the My 600-Pound Life show?
Dude, I hate it. Call me fucked up, but like whenever I pass like a really fat person, like I kind of like hold my breath and I kind of just like dodge them as best I can. Like I don't know,
So
it's, like that.
Every
the fatness.
seconds in Wichita Falls.
Yeah, basically, it's like I don't know. I think like the fat is just like melting off their body, or like they're radiating like fatness, and somehow I'm going to catch it, like COVID. I don't know.
I like coming to America and going. I mean, in Wichita Falls, there's that supermarket. What's that really nice supermarket?
Walmart.
Market Street.
Yeah, Market Street. Yeah, that one. Yeah, I just love going in there and just watchting the fatties. It's just.
Fuck, man! You should come to Oklahoma.
You guys are heartless.
So Oklahoma's like the 4th or 5th fattest state in United States. So it's so weird. Like, so I went from Houston, which was like one of the fattest cities in America, to now one of the fattest states. Dude, it's fucking interesting. It is amazing to see how much stress and bullshit the human body can go through.
I really like it as a testament to how resilient the human body actually is. When you see someone who's 600 pounds, you're like, that's really cool. Way to go, Hart.
A lot of hard work went into that. A lot of
training. Yep, a lot of training.
Like logistically, it is a kind of an accomplishment.
It is.
Yeah,
very impressive.
I feel like one of the guys who I wish I could be one of the guys who was into like those, hefty girls, because there are those dudes. Yeah, they're usually really skinny dudes, like Chase _.
You fit the bill, man.
I just can't do it, man. Cellulite does not do it for me.
Love lost. So this means we have evidence that Mick has tried. Mick has tried and failed.
I've tried everything. You got to try everything at least once.
You're right.
Oh, all right. Next question. When will I look good? Let's see if Mick has tried this question. When will I look good? That
every day.
How do you guys? So I mean, it's a good question. Mick, I'm curious about your opinion here. As you who manages the fewest athletes out of everyone in the room, how long do you think it takes to build a reasonable physique for someone to look like, oh, okay, that guy, looks like he spent some time in the gym? If
they're doing starting strength, like, I don't know, 2 months.
2 months? And in a non-comical answer.
I mean, what does looking good mean though? Like, what does that mean?
How about we just say, that person looks jacked. Let's use the word jacked, and you can fill in your imagination there.
In starting strength terms?
No, in common parlance terms, and just just a random person on the street see someone walking down the street, they see Chase and like, oh, that's a jack guy.
Years.
Yeah.
Years. Multiple years.
Yeah. Multiple years. Chase, what do you think? How long does it take to build a reasonable physique?
Man, and again, that kind of, I'm with Mick with this, but it depends on the severity, right? So if you're looking at, like the extreme end with someone who's been training a long time, and you can see basically all their musculature, they can see like the lumbar erectors sticking out from their shirt, like that guy's fucking been putting in the work.
And that's a weird shirt. If you can see the lumbar.
Yeah, like that dude.
That is a tight shirt.
In the gym bathroom, just watching them shower, going, yeah, he's got some great erectors.
Hell yeah. But like what we tell people at the start is, you can't really look at the number on the scale if you're wanting to kind of again see if your weight's changing or if your clothes or you look better and just anything. We kind of use the clothes aspect in the sense that, how are your clothes fitting? Is your waistband getting smaller, but your thighs and stuff getting bigger? Do you notice that like the upper part of your shirt is getting more tight, but like the waist is getting a little bit more draftier? It's stuff like that you kind of have to keep track of, because it's hard to see progress because, again, you see your body every single day. But and again, just listen to people too. Like I've heard this from several people where it's like 2 to 3 weeks in, they already tell me like, hey, my wife said that like I'm starting to get a neck. I'm starting to see some traps, or like I can see like now their delts are starting to kind of cup and bulge out. That's within like 2 weeks or so usually.
Yeah, so like immediately whenever you start any sort of resistance training, especially if it's like global like this, you'll notice a relative shift in where you're holding your body water. Granted, you're not eating like a sack of crap. And then that's going to be relatively flattering. So you'll notice like a quick onset of acute changes of being like, okay, my body's holding onto water in a little bit more flattering ways. My muscles, just from like relative swelling, are a little bit larger than they normally are. And then, okay, everything starts to feel good. You'll notice that, then it'll taper off for a little bit, and then it starts to be like, how much actual muscle mass are you losing? How much actual fat loss are you incurring? It's kind of the same thing like a diet. If you start a diet in the first 2 weeks, you're like, wow, I lost 15 pounds. And it's like, you change your food choices, you're carrying around like 5 pounds less of like gut content. You've lost a lot of water weight. But it takes years to build a good physique, like literal years, like Mick was saying.
Maybe a better question is, when do people start noticing that that you are actually doing something?
That depends on the crowd who I think you're in.
Well, true.
Yeah.
But I mean, generally though, doing starting strength, I mean, I said 2 months, and that was an actually legitimate answer, when not in terms of getting jacked, but actually in terms of people starting to notice that you're doing something. I think it's probably
I usually say about 2 to 3 weeks. And again, that's what Alex brought up, was just like, it's the shifting around of just all the water weight and your body content. But yeah, it more so like men will kind of see it a little bit sooner. It's just like their arms will start filling out, their chest will start broadening, their shoulders start to exactly. Women, on the other hand, not really. Their legs will kind of firm up a little bit, and that's again a little bit later into it.
They just become an Amazon woman in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, I wish.
You wish. Finally, we're getting down to the nuts and bolts of what Chase is into.
Crown of Iron, he said, so there's so much crap on the internet for people who think that the NLP will turn you into Z's, lookalike, or Ronnie Coleman overnight.
That's a name from the past.
R.I.P. Z's, man. R.I.P.
man. Yep.
Fuck.
Good ones get taken so early.
I know, all the old fit trip fags. Years of hard work. But yeah. So it is one of those things where it's just like, you can expect this to incur over multiple years. Whenever you see anyone who is reasonably jacked in the gym, if you go into any commercial gym and you see some guy who looks like, hey, he may be like some sort of physique competitor, he does some sort of sport, something like that, go in, ask them how long they've been exercising for. I guarantee you almost every time it's going to be well over a decade. Yep. People fall off. The people who are still will look good are the ones who basically stuck around the entire time. You'll see a ton of people who will lift for like a year and a half, and then they'll fall off, and they'll go back to being a normal person right afterwards. And then we have a final question here: when to end an LP? We covered that really extensively in last week's episode, so go and check that out. The shortest answer, if I could nail it down, is whenever the LP stops working for you, not when you think it should stop working, right? Because your expectations matter a lot there. Chase, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Change one variable at a time. Try not to jump from template to template or program to program, and just maximize it as best you can. I always realize that you're never going to get the same amount of progress doing anything else besides the novice linear progression. So hang on to it as best you can and for as long as you can.
Yeah, I like that. Mick, did you check Theodore's Instagram?
I don't think he's let me in yet.
He said, check my Insta. I look basically the same in the latest post. Do you think that's chubby?
All right,
hopefully he's naked.
I hope so. I hope this is just an elaborate dong post from Theodore. That would be great. All right, so we'll run through these quick misconceptions.
Looks like he's about 112 pounds in his photo.
All right, Mick, share your screen. Let's see this stuff. Let's keep this up.
Can I share it? Let me see. Hang on.
So success is a funnel, and only a handful of people make it to the other side. This is true of anything that requires, even beyond NLP. Yeah, for sure. Jacobson. I've been doing grappling for, at this point, about a decade. We see the same exact thing. There are some 50-year-olds in their twilight hour who can, murder a whole crowd of people just because they have, through the attrition process, they've been able to accumulate thousands and thousands of practice. All right, Theodore, which one are you?
You just need to fucking train. Either one of them. You need to fucking train harder.
Yeah,
you just need to train your ass off.
You gotta train your ass off here. We'll take
what you need to do is you need to lock yourself in the gym. If you have a home gym, or just you're going to an outside gym, work there, right? Lock it up at night, and then just train until the early wee mornings hour, and then come out. So like 8 hours of just fucking you just doing squats.
Yeah,
just
Rich
doing
Piana, 8-hour arms, man. You
exactly.
How old are you, Theodore? I can't hear. He's either like 15 or 43. I can't.
All right. While Mick is figuring out the Benjamin Button case of Theodore, we'll go through the common misconceptions about starting strength. We'll try to wrap this up in maybe about like 10-ish minutes, and then we'll go on videos for the last portion. The first misconception, it's not enough volume. That's what people hammer the LP about. The response to this is for who? Is it 18-year-old Chad? Is it 75-year-old Aunt Meredith? Who is it not enough volume for, and then why? And then I would say after that is, do you think it's, I would say, conceptually appropriate to start everyone off at one relatively base volume and then iterate up from there, right? So why not whenever you get Aunt Meredith, do you start a little bit lower? And then why not when you get, 21-year-old Chad, why do you not start him off a little bit higher? Chase, what do you think?
Yeah, so the Aunt Meredith case, she can't handle that much volume, right? She came in maybe with a walker, or just already you can tell right through the door is that she's feeble. She hasn't done shit in years. She's just been retired and, living her life. So the most stressful aspect of what she's going to encounter is just you maybe putting her through the squat, and that may be it that day. Maybe some press, who knows? Just it kind of depends on her condition walking in. Now, Chad, on the other hand, this kid can handle fucking anything, right? So he's going to maybe even have to slow down and maybe almost, quote unquote, like deload him, in the sense that, he's going to be doing like a bunch of bullshit. That's the type of person who comes in and he's like, we're only doing 3 lifts today. It's not so much that he needs, volume, but more so intensity, because he's working out with such light weights to begin with, and just overdoing the volume.
Yeah, Chase brings up a good point. First of all, shout out to NoFapGamerG in the comments. First of all, the man himself, NNFGG. Concept of novice linear progression sounds pretty similar to progressive overload. Indeed, it is a structured attempt at implementing that. Yeah, that's hit the nail on the head there. And then we have Melkor. When do you introduce exercise variation as opposed to manipulating volume and weight? So from a theoretical standpoint, if you were to introduce a new exercise doing 0 reps and 0 sets, you would not be manipulating volume. But by introducing an exercise, by definition, you are manipulating volume. So if you are doing, let's say even 3 sets of 5 low bar, then 3 sets of 5 front squat, then 3 sets of 5 low bar, you have manipulated volume by the nature of the fact that that front squat is a different exercise. The volume will hit a little bit differently than those low bar squats are. So no matter what you're doing with exercise variation, you are manipulating volume, and you are manipulating weight, because you will never be able to say, go from 100% of the weight to the low bar to 100% of that weight on the front squat. Exercise variation is a really good tool for fixing problems often than not. So like, let's say that someone has a weak lockout, you do some rack pulls, things like that. If someone has a weak thoracic extension, or they want to do power cleans, you do some front squats. Not to say they're corrective, but just so much that they help you gather skills.
When do you introduce muscle confusion?
Muscle confusion?
Yeah.
It depends. If you get concussed frequently, you will be confused frequently. I've had a lot of concussions in my day, so a lot of muscle confusion, I would say. I think that goes hand in hand. But yeah, so back to the volume thing with Chad versus Aunt Meredith. You can think about it in such a way of like, what rewards would they get out of it? If you're starting at this basic level of volume, let's say 3 sets of 5 across the board, let's say just for the squat, Chad will be able to focus on technique refinement and intensity, because again, he's very anabolically sensitive, right? So he may be getting, he may get his day's worth of protein out in 150 grams, and that's all that he needs, because of the fact that he's so sensitive to it. Whereas someone who is less sensitive may need 200 grams for the same amount of stimulus. Likewise, he can milk a ton of reward out of those 15 reps, whereas someone else may need more for practice later on. So he can focus on intensity. He can still get a huge reward out of it. So I think that's totally fine, And then I would say is that if you do advance through it, you just advance through it more quickly. So let's say that if you are the least sensitive person in the world and all of your lifts stall out early, that's totally fine, because you can still make adjustments to it. If it were to, let's say, an online template where it was, okay, this is the 16-week starting strength NLP template, and this is exactly what you do no matter what, then in that case, you can make those criticisms saying it's not enough volume for the goals of this specific template. But this is just the start. And for some people that lasts 2 months, for some people that lasts 5 months. And then the volume is a response to that. Do you got anything, Mick? I feel like I heard you.
Just to say, yeah, I mean, did you guys hear that?
Hear what?
Did that come through them? Oh, my stomach just made a really big grumbling sound.
Amazing.
That's all I have to add to this. I'm hungry. So let's get the fuck on with this.
Hey, man, he's hungry. He is hungry. He's an eager lifter. But okay, yeah. So the next thing is it's mostly lower body. You're going to turn into a T-Rex. Mick, what do you think about this?
Oh, I already look like a T-Rex. What are you going to do? Two claws and all.
He has medically short arms. This is the guy from a scary movie. You know what I'm talking about?
No. It must be a millennial reference.
God. All right. I'll pull this up for you later. But carry on. What do you think about this for the T-Rex thing, guys? For the lower body?
It's just bullshit. I mean, who's benching like 225 that has T-Rex arms? I mean, it's just, I don't know.
I think what it is it's like a lot of people, I mean, they come in, and this is true for basically anyone. Like your squat's going to start out heavier than your press and your bench, and as well as your deadlift. So you see those start to LP, and they start adding, 10 pounds to the bar, 20, just depending on the person coming in, and they're skyrocketing past your upper body stuff. So people automatically assume that they're going to look like a centaur with some feebly little arms at the top, but that's not true. Right, we essentially start doing more work for the upper body because it needs more stress versus the lower body where it needs less stress. It's not because we're manipulating volume or intensity. Everything starts out with a 3x5, right? So you're kind of getting the same amount of stress, quote unquote, in the sense that, again, no extra volume, no extra intensity with the upper body lifts versus the lower body lifts. It's just the amount of muscle mass and how small it is compared to the upper body and the lower body. Yeah.
So like the first retort to that is like, is it literally? I think we went over this a little bit beforehand. The deadlift is working all of your back. I would consider the back to be on the upper portion of your body. That may be contested by some people. I'm not sure why. But your traps, your lats, all of those visible things on your upper body are going to be worked significantly in the deadlift, right? So you're getting 3 sets of that upper body work in, plus your chin-ups, which should be somewhere between 3 to 9 sets, plus your benching and your pressing, which is another 9 sets. So it is a non-negligible amount, and I think this is kind of a for who thing. It kind of goes back to the first portion as well. If you plan on doing that amount of volume for 3 years, it's not going to work. If you plan on doing it until it doesn't work, it will work by definition, right? And that's not to be like, semantics, legalese, trickery. It is literally the concept of programming that we use. We follow the individual athlete's response. It's working until it's not working, and then we make adjustments around it. So the upper body is going to move to intermediate first, like Chase was saying. So that we may add in a 4th day of pressing if the athlete can spare the time on Saturday morning. You may add in some pressing after your bench press on Friday, depending on if you have more time in that slot. There's so many things to do. The upper body will move to intermediate programming first. Because it is relatively smaller and you'll be closer to kind of your terminal endpoint, So it's like if you end your deadlift LP at 275, you theoretically, if you did all your homework and you were a good strength athlete and had good programming, you could end up deadlifting 575 or 600. You're really far away from it. You may end your pressing LP at 135, and then your best press you'll ever be able to do is 245. Who knows? For most people, that'd be a monstrous press. You're a lot closer to that than you are to your 600 some deadlift. And then this is my favorite one. We touched this a little bit earlier. People who do starting strength look like they don't lift. Look like shit. They look like rip. Yeah.
Fat.
Yeah. So basically, the argument is just like, are the people who are doing the program meeting their aesthetic value? I think that's one of the shittier things about the fitness space is that if you are a jacked supermodel, people will automatically lend more credence to your opinions. It's like that Athlete X guy. He used fake plates for like a 500-pound deadlift. You know what I mean? He weighs like 140, 150, 560 pounds. He is natty, maybe not. He just walks around at like 7-8% body fat year round. That's incredibly hard to do. Good for him, whatever. But people see that and they're like, that's the person I want to be. Thusly, he's right. And then you'll end up seeing people who have Rip, who have like a wealth of wisdom, and he has a pot belly. Therefore, all of his opinions are discredited immediately.
Yeah, like you just got to take into account the variables, right? Like y'all kind of touched on this at the beginning. It's, you know, the majority of coaches who find this at the start, like they're already halfway through their lives, like their 30s and their 40s. So, you know, how many years have they actually been training consistently? Well, maybe 2, right? And before that, they were just kind of fucking around in the gym, not really doing anything. Versus like someone like me, I've been in the gym, you know, since I was 12, been doing the program, you know, day in, day out. And I look the way I do because I've trained and I've been consistent doing it, right? Someone like Rip, again, it's just age, right? Who the fuck looks really good at 60-something years old? Like fake people on the internet do.
Yeah, but I mean, Rip's a coach. And I mean, you know, if you made the same logic about, say, a football coach. I mean, a football coach who's 65 years old is not going to be the best footballer right now.
Yep.
He was 30 years ago, probably a reasonable footballer. It's such a dumb argument. It makes no sense whatsoever.
Yep.
Yeah, you'll end up seeing this in the grappling world as well. All of my best judo and Brazilian jiu-jitsu coaches have all been people who have had high competitive aspirations, have been knocked out from some sort of injury, and they've dedicated their life to coaching. Are they the best shark on the mat that's possible? No, but, you know, they'll still kick 99 out of 100 people's asses. That doesn't mean that they're the best person in the world. You know, it's like the best sprinting coach isn't Usain Bolt by default. You know, it does not transfer that way.
Those guys are freaks of nature. They don't know how they do the things they do.
Exactly.
The best coaches are typically the guys who achieved some level of success, but had to work really hard to work out how to do the thing. They're typically the best coaches. I
kind of view myself in that category, not in the best coach part, but of the substandard ability who had to try really hard. I think I'm in that for sure. Yeah. We got a few people comments.
Ability but didn't try that hard. So
we got Jay Russo. Haven't seen Jay Russo in a long time. How's it going, my man? Send in some videos, dude. NoFap Gamer GE, the greatest, said thoughts on Jason Blaha. He has made no meaningful contributions to either the research space or the coaching space. Kind of a meme. Crown of Iron said, whatever happened to Tricky Trick? That guy was a legend.
Got married, never saw him again.
Yeah.
That's all right. To sum it up, that's what happened. He posted a photo of him getting married, and then that was it. And never saw him again. Yep. So there's a life lesson for you.
Hopefully he's doing well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Race Jason said he became a big West Side nut hugger. Is he talking about Jason Blaha? Yeah, he's talking about Jason Blaha. Okay. And presumably stopped lifting. Yeah, that guy was a born lifter. Yeah, Tricky Trick is a great example of someone who's on the right side of the bell curve for, you know, athletic response. He did all of his homework. He was gaining weight. He had relatively good form. It was pretty crisp. And then he had decent programming for what it was worth, and he got really strong. But yeah, so people who do starting strength look like shit. It's called starting strength. It's odd. If you go to the starting strength subreddit, you're going to see people who have been lifting for under a year normally. If you see someone who looks really good, who's been lifting for under a year, that's awesome for them, but they are very rare for sure. So here we go. We'll put Mick up on the big screen. How about that? Oh, I love it. All right, I'm going to pull up some videos. Chase, you tell us about your life. How's that going?
Right now, man, we're slowly getting busier at OKC. It's kind of weird. The demographic here is a bunch more kids and a little bit of the older people. Whereas in Houston, it was just more so older people, you know, mid 40s, 50s and up. It's kind of refreshing again to kind of get back into like my roots with coaching kids again. It's really humbling in the sense that kids are just wombats. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. And it really stresses you out in the sense that, you know, the kid really can't respond to complicated cueings because you kind of have to dumb it down for them and really control their movements.
Oh, yeah. You got to keep it absurdly simple. Can you guys see this video, by the way?
Yeah, yep.
Oh, perfect. Okay. All right. We got our man squatting here. Head position for sure. That's the immediate red flag that's popping up. And then back extension. What do you think, Chase? How do you feel about these?
Yeah, he's just leading out of the bottom with exaggerated hips and his elbows. So what I'd say is just drop your butt straight down, keep your knees a little bit more forward, and be a little bit more upright. and drive the belt up rather than your hips, right? Don't think about making them go back, rather straight up.
Yeah. When you're doing your own form reviews, try and take your footage from the side. Pick a landmark on you could be your hip, your knee, the bar, whatever. And if you see everything shoot backwards, that's a really good indicator you're screwing something up. We want everything to go up because that's the direction you're trying to finish in. So when you're coming out of the bottom, think about driving your chest up. You want to overcorrect. If you keep thinking about your hips, it's going to turn into this very dramatic kind of leverage situation. Good morning squat, whatever you want to call it. But for these ones, you want to think high bar, think chest up so that you can overcorrect in a better direction. And that was for our boy, Jay Coates.
Jimmy Coates.
Let's put Stigs Red. We got some Stigs.
Mr. Stigsrud.
Real quick, so Tidor in the chat said, I know Chase was joking about training 8 hours, but do I actually increase volume if I'm getting chubby or just do the program and getting strong? Tidor, just do the program, man. Don't miss days. Do the best you can in the sense of add as much weight as possible to the bar, eat properly, sleep, just do the program, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, don't worry about it, man. It's like if you're doing the program and you're adding 5 pounds a session, are you doing 60 pounds a month still? Are you doing 30 pounds a month? What are you doing? Like, ride that out, if the problem is you just haven't been lifting enough time yet, that's a good problem to have because you have a lot of time going forward, This is like the 8th place we've seen Stigsrud lifting in. This is a new place.
All right, Stigsrud, you want to go ahead, Alex?
No, you go ahead. You're already starting, so.
Yeah, just arm pull right off the bat, man. You're gonna again have to flex the triceps and get in your mind a picture of you jumping with straight arms as the bar is touching your thighs. That's gonna solve a lot of this. And what I found out too with a bunch of people is that as you're pulling on the bar for the power clean, you're kind of fixated on the grip, right? And then that transverses into you racking it. Think about you don't have arms in this situation, but you have to pull from the shoulders, right? So somehow we've attached the bar to your shoulders. Your shoulders are going to be staying over the midfoot for a little bit, and you're just going to shrug up with them as you jump. And that's going to clean up a lot of this arm pull.
I don't know. I don't see. I don't think this arm pull is the big problem here. I think you are not really committing to the pull. I think you need to think about over pulling this and getting a little bit higher. If you were to pause this at the exact frame where you're attempting triple extension, you are not really kind of extending at the ankles for some of your later reps. You're getting a little bit of a pop off the ground, but you're not really pulling it that high. If you go and watch some Olympic lifting during the slow-mos and then watch how they're trying to finish their pull, they're shrugged up to their shoulders. Their arms are more or less straight, depending on what part of the pull they're at. It looks like they're trying to leave the ground with their entire body. With you, you're just kind of casually standing up. I'd kind of, again, put this in that like very light power clean or muscle clean territory. I think some snatching would be really helpful for you to learn how to throw the hell out of the bar. And then if you're not comfortable with snatching, something like a high pull where you're just trying to pull it like with loose arms, like Chase was saying, it's a really good drill to help learn that loose armed position. That little kind of loose hands, not really pulling with your arms, but do a high pull, jump the thing up as high as you can. You'll probably be able to get it to about mid sternum. And then you'll have to focus on getting under it. But I think you need to commit to these pulls. I think that would be the biggest help for you.
Just commit, Stigsrud.
Commit, man. That's the hardest part. That's the hardest part.
Yep.
I'm sure you can ask Chase if he's trying to do a heavy snatch. The commitment is.
Oh, fuck yeah, man.
Yeah. Let's try this guy, Gonsman. Gonsman 1623. Hey. Oh, he's got the posters, my man.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
We got a platform.
CrossFit t-shirt.
Have we had this guy on before?
Not this video. Maybe this guy.
I don't think this guy would have remembered this dude.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully he just power cleans this.
Yeah.
Oh, man, dude.
No.
You have the poster. You have the poster behind you.
Back extension's good.
Yeah, these are like your typical like CrossFitter pulls minus the cat back.
All right, you got the hard part out of the way, my man, Gonsman. So normally for a lot of people, within basically, if you can say setup errors or movement errors, they will have movement errors. They'll have the setup down just fine. Movement errors being like, I'm trying to hold my back in extension, but I just can't. You don't have that problem, so that's good. You have setup errors. Setup errors are really easy to fix. if you're doing them before anything is even happening to you. So to start, I would narrow your stance up a little bit, and I would get closer to the bar, and then look at your poster before that, before you even do anything, and then go through the 5-step setup. So if you get a little bit closer, keep the hips a little bit higher, and then narrow everything. So narrow your stance and narrow your grip. I think you'll be fine.
I agree.
Is he a bit bow-legged or something? Like is something weird going on with his left knee? It sort of pops out as he's lifting it.
Yeah, so I mean, he's on flats right now, and I don't know if these are like tennis shoes or like Metcons or whatever, but he's pushing on the outside of his feet, and he's really trying to stand up with his back. Just and this will clean up once you have your heels in and your stand's a little bit narrower. It's going to be a lot easier to push through the floor in that configuration, because here you're again just borderline squatting it up.
Yeah. So what's going on with his knee is that his arm is physically in front of his knee, which is why it's not at the midfoot, right? So what you're seeing there is that that's where his knee wants to be, is on the way out. But if he were to put it there, then it would have to move through his arm. So if he narrows the stance up, then he'll be able to put his knee in the correct position in the first place. You won't see that pop out. But good catch, Mick. The knee was doing something wonky. Seeing people who are like bow-legged or pigeon-toed, that's always very difficult to work around. But yeah, fix your setup, Gonsman, for sure. Let's check out, who do we got here? We got Big Buck 56.
Hey,
I love this name.
I'm excited about this.
Big Buck. I wish I had the courage to nickname myself things like that.
What would your username be?
Probably Little Buck at this point. I'll go with the whole Buck motif. All right. Are those knees sleeves with? Are those wraps?
Those look like wraps.
Kick ass.
They're
man.
just. That's just what you do, man. Whenever you're Big Buck, you just wrap it up.
Wraps. Always wrapped, always strapped. The Big Buck 56 lifestyle.
Exactly.
Yep.
Big Buck, man, you got to get your eyes set on something. I don't know if the wall's in front of you. It kind of looks like you're able to kind of look around the corner there. Just set your eyes on one thing and just look at it through the whole entire duration of the set. Again, if you can get the bar a little bit lower, work on getting into the proper low bar position. It seems like you can probably do it. You just never really been taught how to set your grip correctly. It looks like it's back in your fingertips. See, again, if you can't put your hand more on top of the barbell to where the bones of the forearm are jamming against the bar, and you just cram yourself underneath it. But for the most part,
Yeah, I'm really happy about the depth that you're getting to. Do you see that blue kettlebell on the ground? Look at that blue kettlebell. That's the perfect distance away for you right now. Think about aiming your forehead down at that kettlebell. Now, the next thing is if you look at the plates on your bar, you'll notice they all spin backwards at every time you're finishing the rep. That's one of my best indicators whenever you're trying to self-teach or if you're trying to analyze your own videos, if you're standing up with your chest, right? So if you're leading with your chest, it'll almost feel like you're going backwards at the top. Those plates are going to spin backwards with you. Try and make that not happen. Try and finish by shoving your hips up and standing up directly under the bar rather than taking it backwards with you. But these are a really good start, Big Buck. I like it, my man. And we got Johnny G. Let's check out Johnny G. We may have seen this before. I'm not sure.
Definitely have this guy.
This guy looks familiar.
Yeah. I think we've seen one of his videos before. I think this is just updated. But I like the shirt, man. High speed, low drag.
Is that some kind of lube t-shirt or?
No, they use that phrase for a lot of stuff. People use that in like the racing community and then the gun community. There's
I think
a lot.
Rogue picked it up. They're like the last people to pick it up.
Okay. Very fast, very short drag queens. That's probably what it is. Ooh, these are some squats.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, these are some sassy squats.
That's my only takeaway from this whole thing. It's just Chase did that.
Add that to the soundboard.
Yeah.
Johnny, man, you got to get into a little bit more bar securement, right? Again, your shoulder flexibility is probably shit, right? But you can get into a better configuration than that. The bar is just rolling up on you. See if you can't get your elbows down. Maybe wrap your thumbs around the bar. Because right now, like your wrists are basically slipping. Your eyes are way too far down. Look up a little bit more, just below that mirror. Or if you can, take off the mirror and look up. And then we got to work on depth, man. You just take off some weight, probably drop it down to like 185, somewhere around there, and just work on sinking your ass down, shoving at your knees, and getting that stretch out of the bottom.
Yeah, squat shoes would help here for sure, as opposed to the flats. Fix the grip, like he was saying. If it looks like your head is entirely forward of your torso at the top, you're hunching over too much.
Mm-hmm.
Move the bar physically down your back, right? And then think about squeezing your chest up and pulling your head back over your shoulders. We don't want you rounded over at the top. When you take the weight down to 135 to 185 and then recalibrate where your depth is, you will never be able to get to depth in this bar configuration and then thoracic position. Just because if you were to go down that far, it would roll up physically into your neck. That's what we're trying to avoid here. So when you can secure the bar, you'll be able to facilitate training your legs in a much more productive manner. But yeah, I think if there's a bar position, once that's fixed, I think the rest can probably line up pretty well. But you'll have to take some weight off to get that done. We just passed the hour mark, boys.
Do you want to do one more and we'll call it a day?
Yeah, I'm going to find who has the best name here. We have Thomas Stovall, Jay Ware, Jay Coates.
D. Reynolds has no thumbnail. This could be anything.
Yeah, D. Reynolds has no thumbnail.
Yeah,
we could do D. Reynolds too. You want to do D. Reynolds?
Sweet D.
Man,
Reynolds.
dude, we got a mystery box in here.
Posing. Oh, here we go. We got some squids.
Yeah, we do.
That's a picture of me up there, by the way, guys. I don't know if you.
Sweet D's crushing it.
Mm-hmm. Cool tattoo, my man.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see this last rep. All right, and we're in the rack. All right, Chase, what do you think?
D, man, I think
we got a second view.
Awesome. What I'm betting is going to happen, what I'm thinking is going to happen, man, is that your knees are coming back as they're standing up and you're kind of overemphasizing the hip drive, right? So once the knees are anchored in place on the way down, they are in that exact same configuration coming up, right? So think of it as like you don't have legs, but you need to make your torso stay in the same angle and translate up and down without moving from side to side.
Yeah, I like to just tell people they're an elevator. You only go up and down.
Yep.
Think everything up and down, nothing forward or backwards. I would start working to refine your upper back position a little bit more. Okay, so as the set goes on, you seem to be initiating it by aiming your head down a little bit further. There's like a little bit of a kick with your head. Your head will be kind of in this good up and back position. Then to start, you'll tip it down. Yep, we see it right there. You kind of look at the back of your hat. You'll be able to see this. Your head kicks down, and then you initiate the rep elsewhere. Think about keeping your head as high up off the ground as possible. That way you won't have to fight so hard for thoracic extension. The rest of it, I think, is really good. Add all the stuff that Chase said. These are very solid squats, my man.
Yep.
I like these. Mick, any thoughts for Dr. Reynolds here?
For Sweet D Reynolds, love the username. That's all I have. Good squat, man. Keep going.
Good squids. Yep. Good tattoos. Mick, do you have any tattoos?
No.
Do you have covered in a full leg sleeve like this?
No, it's really an Australian thing to do that though. So
it is.
But I'm a clean skin.
I think I actually
get buried. I can't get buried in a Jewish cemetery if I get a tattoo. I think.
No shit. Okay. All right. Well, then maybe get a tattoo.
I learned that from Curb Your Enthusiasm, not from.
Yeah. Shout out to Curb Your Enthusiasm. Truly the best first season of any show. I think it stands out.
Best seasons of any show. I think.
All 10. That's a big statement.
Yep. They're all.
I think if
the Salman Rushdie season was a bit, but all the others have been good.
It's good. All right. Any more shout outs for the rest of the school boys?
Rusty. Shout out to Rusty.
Yeah. RIP to Rusty Holcomb. He's in video editor hell right now.
Mm-hmm.
We want you back, Rusty.
Yeah, Mick wants you back.
I want him back. Yeah.
He wants him back.
Rusty. All right. Chase, where can people find you online?
Just look up Starting Strength Online Coaching and then enter my name. I'm on there. Instagram, Chase Lindley. Follow my alter ego, Chase_Lindley as well. And, we rock and roll.
Chase is online coaching. He's very handsome. Check him out. See that keyboard. Yeah, Mick. Yeah. We do need some music for the Q&As, my man.
Some outro, yeah.
Yeah.
Next time.
Next time
I'll play some.
Next time we'll get some outro music. I would still want the intro and outro. I really do. That's all I want. That's all I want in my life. You know, Chase can play his trumpet that he broke, his broken trumpet.
I just blare some shit.
Yeah. I can work on my posing routine, and you guys can play music for us. But yeah, I do online coaching as well. Links in the description. We talked about it at the beginning of the video. But thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next week.
See you guys.